there was a games where you showed up really big, I don't know, like 225. And then I think I spoke to you and you're like, yeah, that was too big. So then I think you showed up at the next games a little bit lighter. Um, but this time you showed up bigger than ever. How did you just stop thinking about weight, or what was the thought process on that?
Yeah, so in 2023, I got cut. I was at 230, and I the initial thought was that I was too heavy and I was too like bulky. But then I realized it was more of a training. I got cut because it was a training effect. Like I did the training wrong. I wasn't doing a lot of intensity in training. So that's why I got cut at the CrossFit games. Got there and I was just flat because I just beat my head into a wall and had no intensity and way too much volume. I was overtrained and all these things. It really had nothing to do with weight, but it didn't help that I was 230 there. Then, um, I lost all that weight. I got down to 210 and I just never got back up to 230 before the games last year. And, I podiumed at Rogue weighing like 220. So when I did that and I podiumed for the first time at a competition, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be any heavier than 220. And that was kind of the goal. Like I felt great at Rogue and, I podiumed. That was my first time. So I was like, this must work. This must be the working weight, if you will. And then as we got deeper into the season, I just realized that um, I'm always hungry, so I gotta keep eating. I can't go on a cut. I can't like starve myself. Like I gotta keep fueling for training. Um, and I naturally just over time just kept climbing up to 230. And I think a lot of that was probably some inflammation over the last two uh 2 months, just training load inflammation. But yeah, I really had no choice. But the thing is, the intensity was super high. It's been high. It was the highest it's ever been over my 5-year career this past summer. So I knew like, hey, the intensity is there. I feel great. I'm healthy, and if I try to lose weight, I could probably compromise my health and get hurt with the volume and intensity that I'm trying to sustain during this training. So I just had to go with it.
Hey, really big picture, like as a generalization, are you saying that you've realized that obviously you still have to do a lot of volume, but the premium, like Glassman used to say, the magic is in the intensity. Like you really just have to get the intensity in,
Yeah.
even if it means less volume.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was many pieces in training this past summer where I had to just not do it because, I looked at it and I was like, hey, this isn't going to be 100%. This isn't even going to be 90%. And, I that Vermont experience really helped me like understand when to do something and when not to do something. If it was going to be for my detriment, and that experience really helped me be very in tune with if I was able to give 100% on a Aries piece. And I don't think I would have that awareness if I didn't go through that experience in Vermont and understand what that felt like. And so like there was various times this summer where I was just like, hey, I can't do this. It's going to be at 85%. It's not worth it, you know? And that was And there have been many times where I had to quit, stop in the middle of a workout. Like the intensity is not here. The intent of this workout is, whether it's chest to bar and thrusters, it's, high speed, it's sell out, empty the tank. It's got to be at 100%. And I could maybe started it one time and, I was like, all right, it's not there. And a lot of people would be like, you're a quitter, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, no, I feel like everything I do, I want to be able to maximize the intensity of this because that's what it's going to be like at the games. And yeah, I just didn't want to do anything if I wasn't going to achieve the purpose and intent of every single piece on paper, then it's kind of worthless. You know, it's just wasting time. It's unnecessary volume, you know.
Potential injury.
Yeah, potential injury, and there and like I said, there is a level of like, okay, you need this volume. Like you're not gonna feel 100% at the CrossFit Games. Like there is that element to it, but when you're at the CrossFit Games, man, it just takes care of itself. You know, we were beat up this past weekend, and the adrenaline, what's on the line, like that kind of stuff, just takes care of itself.
Dude, this is some really old school shit. I remember Eva T saying to the camera in 2007, fuck these people who are doing multiple workouts in a day. They just don't get it. You need to do one and fucking go as hard as you fucking can. And although she didn't get it perfectly right at the level you guys are at, now you're basically reiterating that. You're saying, like, hey, man, you really, really have to be prepared if you want to be at the top to get that
Yeah.
match. And is that at the end, what we're talking about is if you don't do the intensity, you don't get the adaptation.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like,
Or
go ahead.
I mean, you would get adaptations still. It just they won't be as great if the intensity is not as high.
Right. Okay. Even better said. Hey, and when you so let's say you're at HWPO and they give you 5 workouts and you wake up in the morning and it's kind of like, when you order too much food somewhere, your eyes are bigger in your stomach. So you
Yeah.
see them and you see all 5 and you're like, "Oh, I'm so excited. Today's going to be a great day." And then you would get to work, you'd finish workout 3 and then it would be time for workout 4, whatever time in the evening. And instead of it being the excitement that you had at the beginning, it's more like, okay, I just have to check the box and get through my homework.
Yeah. Exactly. And it wouldn't even be. I mean, I don't 5 workouts a day is kind of aggressive.
Okay, you make the number. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't even. I mean, I don't. I've never done 5 workouts in a day in my career. It wasn't that extreme, but there was a lot of like lifting in that year,
Mhm.
like a lot of lifting, and
When you say lifting, you mean deadlifts, cleans, snatches, back squats?
yeah. I mean, I was
Okay.
working with Amy Everett, and we had a lot to do. We had a lot to work on with Olympic lifts, and we were focused on getting my legs really strong. So we were back squatting all the time, and we would do 10 by threes at back squat like twice a week, and the numbers will be at like over 400. And so I'm like doing 30 back squats above 400, like just trying to get my legs as big as possible and strong as possible. And it's like stuff like that. It's not necessarily doing workout after workout after workout. It's as simple as doing a lot of load and frying your CNS to the point where now it's like, okay, I just did all this, and you look at it, I don't have anything to give in this next workout because my CNS is just fried from going getting everything I could possibly get out of this back squat session. I just did, you
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and it's not just one day, it's the accumulation of all of this week after week after week, month after month, of just compounding, and you never actually get to that. You never get back to 100%, and you kind of just you're flat because of it.
Um, when you are in these, like you were saying, like you'll get 85% through um a workout, or you'll start a workout and you'll be like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to give this 100%. Do you stop it? Is it a mental thing or is it a physical thing?
It's physical. If
It's physical.
if it's mental, I'm not stopping. I'm not I'm not a quitter in that sense of like this is too hard for me.
Right. Okay.
Like yeah, and I would never. I have done that, and I hate myself when that happens. And I think I've done that like maybe once or twice in my career. Quit something because it was too hard and mentally I couldn't do it. But for the most part, if I stop something, it's it's out of a sense of maturity, in the sense that okay, I'm trying to set myself up well for tomorrow and the next day, and I want to do this the right way, and that's the only reason I would stop, is just like having my body in mind, not necessarily just because something got too hard. I need to stop doing it.
Hey, do you think are you describing a situation that's is a pro for training alone? Because if you're training with other people, stopping might be harder. And
Bingo,
so and
for
so as
sure.
as long as you can be honest that you're stopping because you're looking forward to tomorrow's best day, um,
Yeah, I
then
mean,
you
yeah, I quit a workout in Vermont, and I was doing the workout with Katrin, and I quit. I walked out, and she finished the workout, and she came out and was like, "We don't quit,"
mm.
like stuff like that. And we
And she meant well, she meant well.
actually met well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But me and her in that moment wouldn't see eye to eye on some things. She may have thought that I quit because it got too hard mentally,
yeah,
and I was quitting because I couldn't keep up this intensity. Like I wasn't even mentally ready going into this workout. Like I'm not gonna do this just to do it. And it's stuff like that. So like the pressure of like doing it with somebody, like if I were to do this with if I pulled somebody with me at Crash, I was like, hey, let's do this workout. And we started, and I get to the middle of it and it's like, oh, I need to scratch this. Like, no chance. I'm not quitting with somebody. And I'm not even stopping. Like
right,
we're gonna finish this. Like I wouldn't want anybody to see that. And I
right,
wouldn't want there's a pressure of like um continuing to go forward.
right.
And I think that if I did train with somebody year round like that, then it wouldn't give me the freedom to like listen to my body.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, God, how old are you?
27.
Yeah, you're a stud, dude. Hey, have you been training more this year alone than ever before?
Oh yeah. I tapped
And
in. I really, yeah. Years past I would like try to, and years past, I got back from Vermont last year, and I've always been somebody who has said, "Hey, I need somebody to race against. Like, I need somebody to like, pull me along. Like, I need some like pride on the line of this." And so, like, I'd rope Jr. into like doing a workout with me, or Lindsay Lane, or somebody else that crashed to just kind of like amp that adrenaline up. And that was like that was last year, and it's good. But this year, I kind of wanted to. When I look at people in the space, Dallin, James, Justin. I always envied how well they do at workouts by themselves. And I wanted that this year. And so that was like the main goal. It was like, you know what? I want to focus on racing against the clock this year. And so I didn't
you came
ask.
up with that? That was your idea?
Yeah. I mean, they would, and a lot of this, stem from seeing their open scores. We would do a workout together, and we wouldn't be in the same area, and they would tell me their times, and they'd beat me by like 2 minutes on something, and I'm like, how in the world? And whether it's quarterfinals or the open, like I just never did well. And I just didn't, there's something about being on the floor with somebody and getting instant feedback when you're racing, and can I speed up, or there's a pride to it. I don't like losing. And there's none of that when you're racing somebody alone. And yeah, so this year I wanted to just I wanted to focus on how could I race against the clock this year. How can I get everything out of how could, like, I just wanted to focus on getting everything out of myself on every workout. And so I didn't ask anybody to work out with me this year. I just want music off as much as possible. I want to listen to my, the demons in my head, if you will, and just go dark. And, I wanted to, fight my own mental battles this year. And I didn't want any help. I didn't want any help music wise. I didn't want any distractions. I didn't want to race anybody. I wanted to just hone in on the task and get it done. And, I did a lot of that.
Hey, this might be the most valuable information ever anywhere about getting every percentile out of someone. This is this is this
I
is
mean,
fucking this is fucking great.
people at Crash hate me for so the class gets done at like 1 o'clock, and I'll instantly turn off the music. There's like there'll be a few people in the gym doing their own thing, and I'm like, we got to turn this music off, man. We've been listening to music all day long with classes going. Let's just turn this off. And that's the best time of the day when there's no music. You get to fight your own mental battles. Morgan Wallen isn't going to help you. You know what I'm saying? It's just all by yourself.
You're just listening to your own breath too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're
own
just hearing
breath.
all
Yeah,
your breathing. Yeah.
yeah. And there's an element of like there's a lot of kids that crash,
Mhm.
and they'll be running around screaming, being in their own world. And that's a distraction that I have trained. There's an element of like absolutely emptying the tank, and you're in that fifth interval, and you got kids playing 10 feet away from you screaming, and it's like
Yeah.
the natural thing would be like to like you want something to like block that out. But I've had to like learn how to like love, you know, they're fine, like I could give everything I got, as much as the as hard as it is right now to focus on the task and like want it to be quiet, or want it to, the music to be blaring and to like distract my own, give me some sort of motivation. There are moments when it's really hard that I've had to like learn how to adapt to, and I'm grateful for those moments.
There's this story of some guy who's sleeping in his apartment at night, and then he hears a car alarm going off in the middle of the night, and it wakes him up, and he starts getting really upset. And the story goes, it's not the car alarm that's upsetting him; it's the stories in his head he's telling himself about the car alarm that's keeping
Yeah.
him awake and upset. And it seems like you've like expanded your awareness like into that space. Like, hey man, I control my fucking story, and I need
Right.
to turn the music off and hear my story, and like
Right.
and deal with my story. Like, I'm not gonna let Morgan Wallen like do that.
That's right.
How long did it take to adjust and keep a high level of output at a heavier weight? What's up, David?
Uh,
Like, did the weight affect you basically your training at all, or was it just incrementally came on, or you just felt
yeah.
better? There was no.
I mean, I definitely could feel heavier when I'm like doing gymnastics, and I'm like, okay, like takes a lot more effort to get up this rope or do a ring muscle up. But at the same time, I had to stay fueled, and I had to, with the effort that I was putting in every day, I had to match that with fuel. And I can't control how much I weigh at that point. You just gotta ride it and keep focusing on the intensity, and focusing on just um, being able to put yourself in a situation where you can give everything you got with the weight that you are with the weight that you are at.